What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and after buying more than 40 used iPhones over the past couple of years, I've learned that not everything is what it seems. There are plenty of scams out there, and there are plenty of people who will lie to sell their phone for more than it's worth. But today, we're going to make sure that never happens to you. So if you're looking to buy a used phone in 2022 or beyond, you need to know these 6 tips and tricks that I'm going to share in this video. And this video is also going to be targeted directly at iPhones, but these tips can also apply to any smartphone or really any electronic device that you want to buy used. All right, so let's start off with the first tip, and that is to know where to look. So it can get very overwhelming with the amount of applications and websites out there where you can buy secondhand products. But my suggestion is just to use the biggest marketplace out there right now, and that is eBay. So I used eBay for 95% of my iPhone purchases in the past year or two, and I didn't have a single issue with any of the transactions. So Swappa is an alternative, but I've not used them anytime recently. But eBay, it used to be sketchy to buy from because it was really easy to scam people back in the day, and the customer support was not the greatest, but that was many, many years ago. eBay is now perhaps the safest place online to buy used electronics as long as you're smart about it. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is how to be smart about buying things online, especially when it comes to secondhand electronics. eBay is very simple once you get the hang of it and you know what to do. So all you want to do is search for the product you want to buy. So for instance, I put in iPhone 11, and then you want to use the filters, and that's pretty much it. So if you go into filter right here, you could filter everything. So like condition, make sure this is in use. So you could do by excellent, very good, or good, or you could just do used to see all of them. I always just like to do just used right here. And then of course you can do other things as well, like the price, the storage capacity. So I would recommend not doing anything under 128. I would not recommend 64 gigabytes here in 2022. So I would check off like 128 if you want to get the cheapest prices there. And then another one I like to always check off is the item location and make sure that is in my country only, so US only. And then everything else is pretty much just preference. You could change it to whatever you want, like the network. If you want it to be unlocked, you could just change everything to your liking. But those are some of the main filters I would go ahead and apply. Now you might also be wondering where the other 5% of my iPhones were purchased, because again, I said 95% were purchased on eBay, but the other 5% were on Facebook Marketplace. So I met up with a couple of people to buy their used iPhones. And once again, this is not sketchy if you're smart about it. All you need to do is just check out their profile to make sure it's a real person who posts their family and their dog, and things like that. And then when you go to meet, just make sure it's in a public place with lots of people around. And of course, make sure that your parents or your partner or somebody has your location on their phone. But I would honestly only use Facebook Marketplace if it is like an incredible deal that you cannot pass up. Like if it's only like $10 less than eBay, just go through eBay. It's a lot safer to not have to meet up with a random person. So that's why 95% of mine were through eBay. All right, so the second tip is a very important one, and this is to know the going price. And this is important because this is going to tell you if you're getting a good deal or not. It's going to tell you what price range you should be looking for. And the easiest way to figure this out is to use eBay's search filters. So once again, we already talked about the filters right here. If you start scrolling, you could see them right here as well. But if you go to filter right here, then you go all the way down to the bottom, you will see a toggle for sold items. You want to make sure to select that. And now it's going to show you every single iPhone that matches your criteria that was actually sold. It's not going to show just listings where people have it listed for like $2,000. This is going to show the iPhones that actually sold, and you will see they are green right there. So we have some ranging from 410 to 650. Obviously, it's going to be, a difference in the condition of the phone, the capacity, and things like that. But you can get a pretty good range right here. And of course, you can break it down as well if you want to. So if we go up here and break it down by the storage capacity, if we only want to see 128, it's only going to show those right here. So for some reason, this one sold for a lot more, but that is an outlier. You can see none of them sold for 650. None of them even sold for over 600. So you can kind of just cancel that out. Just look through, a few of these and you'll get a good idea for what these are going for. And what I like to do is go into the listings and see why something sold for a low price. So for instance, this one sold for $397 and it has a 99% battery capacity. That sounds good, but let's see if there are any marks on it, if there are any scratches or anything like that. So looks like it's in pretty good condition. It has a screen protector on it and everything. Not the best pictures, but yeah, looks like it has, I guess they said some scratches, but not much wear on the battery. So pretty good deal there. I mean, 99% battery capacity. You can see they have a screenshot of it right there. It looks like there's a screen protector on it as well, and that's pretty good to go for $397 in my opinion. So you can kind of look in here, look in the listings and see the condition of it, and you'll see, what you can expect to pay for instance, a used iPhone 11. So it looks like right around the $400 mark, 400 to 450 seems to be the sweet spot just from my first glance at looking at this. Some of them will sell for a little bit over if they have like the original box and if they're in like new condition and things like that. But again, that's why you go into the listing to see what makes it worth more or worth less. And so now that you know the price range, you can narrow your search results down even further. So if we go down here and uncheck these sold items, we can go all the way back up and now we can put in a price range. So we can maybe have a max price of like, what would we say the most was? Like I'll just do 450 for instance. That's a little bit high, but we can do like 450 right there. Let's go to done. We can even set a minimum as well to just filter out anything that's like broken. So I'll do 300 to 450 right there. And you can see some of the results right here. So that helps you break it down even further to see more relevant listings to you and what you know is a good price. So the next tip is also very important and it is a very loaded tip. There are a lot of tips within this tip. So it's all about photos because photos are one of the most obvious tells of a listing and the person selling it. It tells you a lot about the person and the condition of that phone. It's really psychological, but I would only consider listings with actual pictures of the actual iPhone that you are trying to buy. I would not, consider anything with stock images. Like if we go down here, I'm sure we'll see like this right here. You don't want to have you don't want to buy something that has a stock image or a screenshot of an iPhone. You want to look for photos that are in good lighting and good quality photos. Like this right here is a great photo. It shows you it has the box. It shows you, good lighting of the phone itself. There are multiple angles. You want to look for things like that. So this leads me on to the next tip as well, which is, like I said, a tip within a tip, but look for iPhones with the original box. Again, it's a psychological thing. It tells you a lot about the person who bought the phone. Those who throw out their iPhone box, they probably don't care as much about the phone itself, so it's probably not going to be in as good of condition. So I would look for listings with the original box if you can. Sometimes they are a little bit more because people know this, some people know this and they will pay more for that, but look for listings with the original box. Also look for listings, look for people who are selling their phone with a screen protector on the screen. That almost guarantees that the display is going to be scratch free and maybe just a few scratches if anything. So if you can find a listing with the original box and a screen protector on it, that is gold. Those are the exact listings that I personally look for on eBay. And also it is kind of hard to tell if there are scratches on the display. So this is an excellent listing right here. I mean, they even put small scratch here in the listing. This is excellent. This is one of the best listings I've seen right here. So props to this person. It really tells you that they really care, about selling it and about the phone. But I would also look in the description for mentions of scratches and just the overall wear of the phone, because again, sometimes it can be hard to tell just from the images, especially if they're not great quality. So look in the description to see if they mention any scratches. And one thing I've learned over the years is that if they don't mention the phone being in great condition, it likely is not. That's a big selling point and everybody understands that enough to put it in the listing. So the key here is to just look for good photos and look for mentions of the condition in the description. If they say excellent or good condition, that is a good sign. If they don't mention that, it's probably not in great condition, because obviously they would say that to help sell the phone for more money if it was. All right, so the next tip is one of my favorites, and this is how I always snipe good deals on eBay before anybody else even sees them. And this is a trick I've used for a very long time on eBay, and it's gonna help you get the best condition iPhones for the best price, and it's very simple. So eBay has auctions and buy it now listings. There's two different types of listings. So auctions can last 24 hours or for multiple days, like a week or more. And it's people bidding against other people until the highest bidder wins. So I do these occasionally, maybe 10% of the time. But if you want the least competition and the higher likelihood to win something at a discount, you need to take advantage of the newly listed buy it now listings. So once you search for something, go into filter right here, and you want to go under buying format and change it from all listings to buy it now. And this is going to exclude all of the auction listings, all of the ones where people are bidding against other people until the auction ends. We don't want that. We want buy it now right here. And then we also want to sort this by newly listed. And this is going to have the phones or the products that are listed the most recent, and then also buy it now only. So the likelihood of other people having seen this listing is pretty low, especially if you consider, checking this multiple times a day, or if you save this search and get, emails when a new listing matches this criteria and is newly listed. That's another little in-depth trick right here. But this is going to show the most recent ones. So you can see right here, $381 right here. You can see it was just recently listed and it has a buy it now only. That's the only way you can buy it. So you don't have to wait for the auction to end and for other people to see that. So again, this is the best way, in my opinion, to get a good deal. But the key here is just to constantly check it. You're not going to go in just one time and see the best deal right up top. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to monitor this over like a week or a couple of weeks, sometimes even a month, before you see a really good deal pop up. Because again, people are buying these phones, every single minute of the day. So there are going to be a lot of people doing this exact thing, but you have a lot higher likelihood of getting a good phone at a good discount when you go through this method right here. The next tip is to check the seller's history. So you guys like to look up reviews before you buy something online, right? Well, it's the same thing with buying from somebody on eBay. You want to look up reviews of other people who have purchased something from this seller. It's the same as looking up a review of a phone or anything else. You want to make sure the seller is trustworthy and that you should buy from them also. So for instance, this listing right here, photos look fine, nothing great, nothing crazy, but they look fine. You can tell it's a real phone and everything like that. But if we go down all the way to the bottom down here under about this seller, you will see they have an 88.9% positive feedback rating. So to me, I'm out. That's not good enough for me. I look for 95 to 100% positive feedback. And I also look for at least 50 items sold or 50 items bought. So that number right there in the parentheses, I always look for that being 50 or above. And then I also look for the positive feedback being between 95 and 100%. So the number in the parentheses does not matter as much. Honestly, that can only be, 2 or 3 and it will be probably fine. I would avoid it if it says 0, but honestly, that number doesn't matter as much. You really want to look at the positive feedback rating right there, which to me is too low. So if we go into this, you can see they got 1 negative rating in the past 12 months. If you click on that again, you will see right here, somebody left a negative review about an iPhone having issues. So not only was it negative feedback, but it was also negative feedback about an iPhone, which is something you're looking to purchase again from this person. So that is a double red flag for me, which means I would completely avoid this auction. There are plenty others out there. You don't want to risk anything. So really look in depth at the seller's history before you plan on buying something from them. And then the final tip before buying a used iPhone online or in person is to check a couple of very important things inside of settings. So if you go into your settings right here and then go down to battery and then battery health, you want to make sure that the maximum capacity is over 90%. So I would not buy anything under 90%. Otherwise, you're probably going to have to buy a battery pretty soon, and you're going to have to tack on the extra cost on top of the used iPhone you just bought. So then it's not looking like such a great deal after that. But I would check that, and if the person does not mention it in their listing, I would just message them and ask them what the maximum capacity is. And then also, if you're going to meet up with somebody, make sure you check this out before you hand over the cash. Now also, I would make sure to check in settings, general, about. So if you go into your settings right here, and then go to general and then about. If you're on iOS 15.2 or higher, you will see the parts and service history. So this is a new feature, and I would strongly consider looking in here because you could see if any of the parts were serviced and if they used genuine Apple parts or not. So for instance, if somebody replaced the screen, if somebody replaced the camera or the battery, you could see right here, Apple will list if it was replaced using a genuine Apple part or not. So that will tell you a lot about the person if they replaced the battery through a third party and not through Apple. That means they skimped out on paying for that, and you're not going to have as good of battery life because it's not using a genuine Apple part. So go in here and check for that. And you can see here, it shows certain things in there depending on the device, but it will show if it's a genuine Apple part or not. So that is also very important to check for, because somebody could lie and say that they got it replaced by Apple, but this may say otherwise. And then also you do want to make sure that the phone is not iCloud locked. So you don't want to see anybody sign in right here. You don't want to see a name right here. Most people don't sell iCloud locked phones anymore because everybody knows to stay away from those, but you want to just make sure that nobody is signed in right here and that you could sign in to your iCloud account no problem. And then a couple of tips I also wanted to share if you're going to meet a person for a phone, like if you met somebody on Facebook Marketplace and want to buy it from them, there are a couple of tips I wanted to share for that as well, because again, I have met with several people over the years to buy things and I've learned a couple of things. So first off, if you're going to meet a person for a phone, make sure you only bring the exact amount of cash that you agreed to pay. And also make sure a trusted friend or family member knows where you are, knows where you're meeting this person just in case. And make sure it's in a public place, of course, like a bank or somewhere like that where there are cameras and other people around. And then also if the seller starts asking for more money when you meet them in person, never ever accept that. If you notice something, that could make the phone worth less, if there's like a scratch on the back, or if the camera's messed up or something like that, then you may say, can I take this for $20 less or $50 less? And, just offer that because that was not expected. They didn't say anything about that. And if they don't budge, don't be afraid to walk away. If you don't think it's worth the price anymore, don't be afraid to just say no and walk away from it. There are plenty of other iPhones out there to buy. And then of course, the most important tip here is to just be smart about the person. If you get bad vibes, listen to your gut. Your gut is almost never, ever wrong, especially with something like this. If you're feeling off, if they feel off, just leave. Don't say anything. Just say you have to be somewhere and just leave. It's not worth your life, or it's not worth getting into some situation or getting robbed or anything like that. So I've never been robbed. I've never known anybody who's been robbed or anything like that. It's very rare as long as you are smart about it. But anyways, guys, there you have it. Those are some important tips and tricks to follow when buying a used iPhone or really any smartphone here in 2022. So if you have anything you would like to add, let me know in a comment down below. And as usual, all info and all references to help you guys out will be in the description of this video down below. And if you enjoyed this video and feel more confident about buying a used iPhone now, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. And of course, make sure to subscribe for more used iPhone guides and long-term reviews of iPhones here on the channel. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.